Are you ready?
Yeah. So, Mike, do the introduction, Mike, since you are, you look like a nerd, like the nerd from the emoji. So the nerd, guys, is doing the introduction. Mike, starting from your left, you have...
Guys, thanks for coming. Welcome back to another IFTV Serie A audio experience. And everyone's been saying, when you guys going to do another podcast? When are you going to do this? We finally got the crew over here, except for Peter, because he's not in New York. Anto, thank you for being here. Gaetano, thank you for being here.
Welcome back.
And Marco.
Well, you know what the comments have been saying lately? They're saying that me, you, and Peter were scared to come to the podcast because Milan won. They said that's why we haven't been here. Peter, I think he's so scared that he left the country. Is he in Canada right now?
Is he?
I think he's in Canada.
I think he's in Utah.
You're not scared only. You're scared and you are ashamed because you stuck until the last minute that the Inter is going to win. You should be ashamed of yourself. Okay, you should be ashamed of yourself.
At least
and
you
dragged into the net. You dragged my buddy Matteo over there. That you made him stuck even with this prediction that AC Milan was not going to win. But I'll cut him a slack because I wanted him to tell me what was his reasoning until the last day not to pick up AC Milan.
Maybe he was playing mind games like you do.
You play mind games?
No,
okay.
but for real, jokes aside, it's good to be back. We need to do a recap of the entire season. I know Michael and Antonio did a special Milan episode of when they won the Scudetto. What an unbelievable year it was. The only person who predicted Milan to win the Scudetto at the start of the season was Antonio. Antonio, round of applause. I give you respect.
I like how Gaetano's going to say something.
My dad is the only one who didn't clap for him.
Gaetano, why aren't you clapping for him?
Okay, I don't need this
Why don't you want to give him credit? I want to hear this one.
But it's easier for him to say Milan. He would always say Milan and Italy.
Well, you said Juventus all the time?
Whatever.
Isn't that easier for you too?
No, I didn't say Juventus after Ronaldo left. Okay, I say Juventus when Ronaldo was there.
I stuck with Milan the first time and I stuck with Milan the second time.
Yeah, but
so you get the credit now.
But you say a lot of things though.
Oh!
You say that Italy was going to win the World Cup. I mean, Italy's not even in the World Cup.
If Mancini would have listened to me, they would have won the World Cup.
So there's a lot of things. I mean, you're a Milan fan. What are you going to say? You're going to say Milan is going to win. It's easy.
No, it's not easy. It's not easy. I knew it. We were supposed to win last year. We didn't have the bench to win the Campionato.
What made you predict that Milan was going to win the season? What did you see from the squad?
I made the prediction that I saw that the squad was ready, but not to make the final jump to the stuff. So the crew that we had last year pretty much was exactly the same except for Giroud. And Giroud was needed not because... physically, we didn't have a physically Ibrahimovic because with Ibrahimovic in top shape, we wouldn't probably even need Giroud. But with Giroud coming in, that gave me the confidence. I said, this is what is going to put us over the top. So, and the aging, like the wine, the aging of Kalulu, the experience that he gained into the field and all the stuff, and Calabria, and Florenzi was the one that really surprised me the most because he showed me that he had some quality still left on his game. So it's a combination of things. Of course, Benacer coming up to his prime, Tonali being the major push for us, and don't forget, by giving up Donnarumma, we did ourselves a huge favor financially, economically, and by getting Mike Maignan. I think Mike Maignan is a lot more laser focus on the win and in getting the defense just focused, because when that guy is looking at you, he's demanding a lot of attention.
He had the most clean sheets and he won Serie A MVP for the best goalkeeper.
Yeah, but look his body language. It doesn't panic, it doesn't do anything, he plays very well with his feet. He actually had 1 or 2 assists during the entire Campionato. He's very comfortable in his position. He makes all the rest of the defense and the squad in front of him playing very, very, not relaxed, but playing very concentrated.
I have to say, I was so impressed this year. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect from this Milan. I absolutely would not have predicted them to win the Scudetto. I thought that based off their squad, I thought, a lot of their players besides Giroud and Ibra are young players. They're players who have not won. And we constantly hear this in Italy, like, you need a team of veterans to be able to win. I mean, but you have to give so much credit because they didn't win because they went out and they bought the best players in the world. They weren't able to. They had to build on a budget. They had to build with their brain. Maldini did an incredible job from top to bottom, and I felt like it was the perfect combination of everything working at the great time. I keep saying, Pioli if he was at Milan a couple of years ago, it never would have worked out. He probably would have lasted 6 months. He found himself in this situation where the young players listen to him, the old players listen to him, and he could be this father figure of not really needing to tell everyone where they needed to be at the exact moment, but knowing the right thing to say at the right time. I think back to what he showed in the locker room, right? In one of their last matches, the quote from Kobe Bryant that said, yeah, we're 2-0 up, but we need to push for the next one. Like, never letting them stalemate and get stuck, and continuing to believe, even in moments where there probably was no hope. The Derby della Madonnina, when they were down 1-0 and got dominated, and then they came out and won the match 2-1. I got to give so much from top to bottom, this Milan. It's an example also for the rest of the Serie A that, hey, you don't always need to be the guys that go out and buy the biggest players.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Well, I thought that Inter was a better team than AC Milan, but that Milan had the better leadership than Inter. And then when I saw in the last 3-4 weeks where people still thought that Inter was going to win, I thought that's it, Milan is going to take it. Then they're going to stop now because they have this leadership in Maldini, Giroud, Ibra, which they're going to bring it to the field, and they're going to bring it into the locker room, and they're going to bring it into practice. And when it gets that close, I thought these guys, they're going to do it.
What changed? Because you didn't have Milan winning. Obviously, nobody here, like I said, besides Antonio. What do you think changed, or what did you miss from that time compared to what actually happened?
They had one more year. These young guys had one more year. The veterans were there helping them out. I mean, the transformation of Tonali from the year before and this year was amazing. So this young team, which they played 1 year without any spectators, and maybe there was not the pressure that they had. They grew. They became more mature, and then it was the right timing with Pioli, Maldini, Ibra, and Giroud. I think that was...
And Magnan, put Magnan, because he's a leader. He's a leader.
That brought this team to something that Inter, even though I thought the team was better, they did not have.
I still would say that the team was better, but Milan put it together on the field more than Inter did.
100%. And since we are given credit, I think there's some credit that needs to be due to our premium sponsor, Paramount Plus. I think for their debut season for Serie A, I think they've done incredibly well, doing incredible stuff with the Serie A, going on trips to Italy. Marco's incredible trip over there for 6 weeks. And Marco can obviously say better than all of us how incredible it is having people that actually love Serie A working in that environment overall, right, Marco?
I mean, you met the crew also behind the scenes, because what I keep saying is that, when you do something with love, like everybody here, we grew up with Serie A. We know we want the league to be so big in America. Mm-hmm. They have that behind the scenes. Everyone is pushing to take it to the next level. So thank you to Paramount Plus for being our sponsor for this entire year. The coverage has been fantastic to be able to watch and be a part of. And even the show that we built is actually today. It came out on Paramount Plus. So it's available. Anyone who already has it. Link in the description if you didn't sign up, but I'm sure you didn't. I think it's under, if you go to Serie A and you go to specials, you'll see For the Love of Calcio. It's a TV show where I traveled around for 6 weeks, going around Italy, meeting players and telling stories about the people that I met. So it was an incredible journey. And maybe the reason why Paramount did so good is because you came up with the jingle in the middle of the year. And that's why Milan won as well.
Okay, since you brought it up, Paramount Plus, if you're listening to me, you know that I'm one of your biggest promoters. I'm about to quit my job in the next 6 months to 1 year. So I'm just setting myself up for a job interview, because I just wanted to travel to Italy all over, like this guy here did. But I want to do it on a weekly basis, because this guy here, once in a while, you send him for an important game. I want to be there all the time. So give me a nice credit card with a limited budget on. Forget about the $5,000 or 5,000 euro. Give me a credit card with a limited budget, and I'm going to put a lot of beautiful content.
You will never see this guy again.
From time to time, I'll put my Greek buddy over here next to me, and I'll teach him how to speak a little better Italian, but I'm on for the challenge. So, and maybe from time to time, Papi Miller is going to help me out, because she's an AC Milan fan, from what I understand right now, because I kind of, promote AC Milan so much that she had to just fend it off against all of you. And, likely Papi, she's my die Papa. She's an AC Milan fan right now. So, you know what? Thank you, Paramount Plus, for promoting Serie A. This is the main reasons why I'm still here. Otherwise, I would never not even be sticking around those guys. So thank you for sponsoring the podcast. And thank you for all the rest of the guys that besides you guys are watching us, because we're here to make a service for all the fan and try to make everybody happy, despite the fact that I'm a rabid and nasty AC Milan fan. But I love every fan. You know, I love every fan. Okay,
guys, I have a question for the group. Since we're talking about Milan Scudetto, who do you think was the most valuable player looking back? That if this player was taken away from the squad, they would not have won. And I know we all already agree that it's the leadership of the team. It's a unit. You cannot win without everyone. But put that aside and answer the question. For me, it was hands down Rafael Leao, because in the moments that mattered, in the decisive moments, he came through. When the team was looking like, can they be able to score a goal? I think 8 out of his 11 or 12 goals were the decisive ones, were the one that was 1-1 and he scored the 2-1, or the ones that won the match. I think his ability to break the deadlock was like the key for Milan. I don't remember who else said it too. I know one of the Milan players said that without Leao, they would not have been able to win. What do you got?
No, I agree. I mean, they had a lot of players that were MVP for the season, but I'll go with Giroud. I think you needed his goals to get you to the top, and Leao had a lot of assists, he had goals, but I go with Giroud. I think he was the MVP.
I think most people would pick Leao for the most part. I agree, he's been very vital. But someone even more consistent that I feel like he doesn't get enough praises, I'd have to give it to Mike Maignan, just because he's replaced someone like Donnarumma, who is on top of the world, Euro Cup winner, and just like that, Milan fans pretty much forgot about him just because he was so composed, no drama, good with his feet, humble character who's won, previously before, and I think that was perfect. He commanded the defense great. And you didn't get a peep out of him. It was only positives for him. You didn't hear stuff about the outside, his agents, or whatever the case may be. So I think I have to give it to Mike.
Anto?
Maignan, hands down. Not even. I mean, the job of a scorer or a forward or a winger or whatever is to score. That's your job. And you live by your success, and you just live by your defeat too. So you have to just take it on and off. Maignan, like Mike said, you never hear a pip about this guy here. No wags, none of that stuff on the Corriere. Even though I spend a lot of time watching the wags and all the stuff. Yeah, it's very interesting. I gotta be honest with you. So, but Maignan, hands down, it's the best for me.
Can I give one argument though?
Yeah.
One little argument.
Yeah.
I think that it's easier to replace a goalkeeper than it is to replace a top goal scorer. I'll make you an example.
Okay.
Donnarumma was the MVP of Serie A last year, and they replaced him with Mike Maignan, who also became the Serie A MVP. To find a top goal scorer, a guy like Leao, you have to go out and spend 100 million. You're talking about Haaland, Mbappe, the top of the top. So if you lost Leao, who can you get that could actually replace him at that same level? I struggle to find a name that's actually within reason. So for that reason, as also your goal scorer, the goal scorers, they got to be the ones that.
I'll tell you why you're wrong. Tell you why you're wrong. First of all, Leao was not a capocannoniere. He did score pretty nice goals.
Also,
goals.
It's the assists. It's how he set up a lot of the moments.
What your father said, it was the right thing to say before. It was Giroud and Leao. The Giroud leadership. Giroud attracts a lot of people on him. And Leao doesn't have to be attracting people. Leao, they always double him up. So by somebody double him up, Leao, Giroud is always, he finds himself from time to time to be free. So it's a combination of both of them. It's not just Leao. It's like a deadly combo. Giroud and Leao from the West. And don't forget Theo Hernandez.
Right, but that's the point.
But
we know
MVP,
it's all of Milan.
MVP is Maignan. MVP is Maignan.
Anyway, let's unbelievable from Milan. Drop in the comments who you think was the MVP. I don't think you could go wrong with a couple of the names that we mentioned. It was a team effort at the end of the day. So unbelievable job for Milan. Well done. Now you got the 19th Scudetto underneath your belt. And it's a good.
And we're going to get to 20 before Inter. We're going to get to 20 before Inter, right? Well, and you owe me a shirt. You told me that I thought I forget about it. You owe me a shirt.
We made a bet.
Okay.
I will buy you an AC Milan shirt. I think we'll put IFTV Antonio with the number 5 for Cinque Palmi.
Yeah.
100%. Next podcast that we do, I'll get you the shirt.
Hey, didn't you say that, thanks to somebody that I know, I got to meet Pirlo and Nesta at the airport. I'm not going to make names. But this shirts here is going to be a special shirts because every time that you go to Italy, and if I'm not there, I want you to take the shirts, especially if there's some of the best players that I know, and you have to just ask them.
Why
to
don't you
sign
tell
up
your
for
story
me.
with Pirlo real quick?
Oh my God, Pirlo was so funny. Pirlo was almost out of the gate with the cab driver over there. I mean, the taxi driver. So I said, "Hey, Andrea," I first shook hands with him, and then I said, "Hey, Andrea, you think we can take a picture together?" I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So we take a picture together, and he takes the phone and he gives it to the cab driver. I said, "Ando, are you from Bari?" I said, "Yeah. How did you find out?" He said, "I can see from your phone." On my phone, on the back side, there is the body stuff. So he was so freaking nice. And then he said a couple of words even, he said, "Yo, voglio Jennings." I said, "Oh, crap, this guy can speak even dialect." So I said to myself, at the moment that I didn't think about it, but then, after this whole thing, you're so shocked to stand next to Pirlo. Your skin is so, it's like you said, what do you say, the skin, chicken skin or something? Yeah, goosebumps.
Yeah.
And then I said, "My God, I'm standing next to Pirlo. Can you imagine this guy? This guy is like God for me." So he signed my jersey. They said to me, "Stretch it." He signed it so nicely. He put number 21 on. And then he signed very nicely, even the Gagliardetto, the Scudetto that I brought in. But for him, being the fact that I heard that it's not available it's always been sought by so many people. So he has the tendency to stay a little bit, to focus on himself. But he was so nice. I mean, one of the nicest person that signed my jersey, thanks to this guy over here. So, because I'm sure he made their life a lot easier by going through the, customs and all the stuff. So, what can I tell you, Gaetano? Okay, thank you. I mean, I don't like you that much, but you did a great job. Thanks, Gaetano.
Good friend, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Inter season, because as much as we spoke about Milan, you mentioned that Inter was the best team. What'd you make about their season? How do you judge it? Even though they lost the Scudetto, but they did win 2 other trophies.
But I think that the Scudetto, at one point, I thought that they were able to. They should be able to win it. And at one point, when they were playing that derby and they were winning, I mean, I said, "That's it. This Campionato is over." They could have gone up like 7 points or something. And then something happens, and I think it's something that happens to the teams that Inzaghi coaches. I mean, that's what I think. I think that Inzaghi does not prepare the team as good as other coaches for the important games. It happened to him at Lazio. It happened to him at Inter.
So how do you judge his season? Do you think it's successful? Do you think it's a failure? Do you think it's somewhere in between?
I think for the first year that he was there and he made this leap to one of the top teams, and I think Inter will think the same way. They're going to give him a chance for next year. But if he does not do well next year, I think it's gonna be out. Yeah, it's probably for Inter is a good season, but not the great season that. If he would have won the Scudetto, that would have been a great season, and he would have shown me how much better he got from when he was at Lazio.
But as he said, when he took over the squad in July, it was a disaster, and people thought that they were not even going to get top 4 when they lost Hakimi, Lukaku, and Conte.
That's
so
true.
To him.
That's true. And Conte ran away when he saw that. And shame on Conte, because he should have stayed. To me, he should have stayed. And so he did a good job when those players left. They did a good job, but also the club did a good job because they got him good players.
Yeah.
I mean, Dumfries, he did very well for somebody that came. He did the first year. Dzeko is a good player. I mean,
he did good in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, but you got to do good the entire season. A team like Inter needs a real
Correa, Caicedo, that didn't really
no,
make a big impact.
Caicedo didn't do anything, but Correa came in a couple of times. He scored the first game. He scored a couple of goals, and he always had somebody else on the bench. Sanchez, that when he needed, the little push at the end, he came through.
So do you think it's just a player thing next year that Inzaghi needs to do better? Is it just he needs better players?
Well, they definitely need to do something up front. If I hear that Lukaku wants to come back, and Tottenham wants Lukaku, I think if he gets Lukaku back,
Game over.
And then I want to see him.
I don't think so.
No?
I want to see him win the Scudetto.
I know the problem,
for
but
Inter-
I know
for
the
Inter,
problem that
the-
Inter had. I want to share it with everybody, but just go ahead, do what you're gonna
No,
do.
go.
Okay, I'll tell you what. The only thing that I blame Inzaghi for the job, I'm not an Inter fan, thank the Lord, but if I was an Inter fan, the only thing that I would be blaming him to, he was not able to replace or to just put somebody on the position of Brozovic when Brozovic was out, because that's what I think when Inter starting not to win games because they're starting to have a bunch of ties, they lost a few games. It was because of the role of Brozovic. Nobody can really embrace it the same way that Brozovic plays. Brozovic, I think it's more important than Lautaro and a lot of other players on that team. And obviously right now, the main thing that Inter should be doing is just looking for the players that can be, a natural sub for Brozovic, which is not easy. Brozovic is like the Pirlo of AC Milan when AC Milan, or the Nazionale when AC Milan, the Italian national team was coming out of the box. So when you don't have somebody like that, just making things clear for the rest of all the team, I said, hey, I got the ball, just get yourself set up. They didn't have it. They didn't have the sub for Brozovic, and that's what I think that's what they got screwed for.
That's actually a really good
they
point.
They didn't have the players.
I think
to just,
Peter's big thing was he kept saying that they didn't have a Brozovic. The thing for me is like I feel like they got so far. They won the 2 trophies, which was really great for them. Even in Champions League, they made me very proud. They went out against Liverpool. But they played the right way. And I think at times this Inter, for me, they're the best team on paper. Like their group is the strongest. And I think at times I remember watching Inter back, they still played the best football in my opinion. Now I think it was Inzaghi perfect. No, he made mistakes. There was mistakes in substitutions. Mm-hmm. There was mistakes, I agree, in mentality and in concentration where they could have managed games a little bit better. But it's his first year at a top team. At all due respect to Lazio, at Lazio you're not expected to win. When you go to Inter as the reigning champions, it's a different sort of pressure. So I think we need to give Inzaghi, cut him a little bit of slack to be able to adapt and to grow. He's 100% the coach that they need to build for. My bigger concern is Suning, and it's the club behind them, on are you going to be selling these players like Bastoni? Are you going to keep losing pieces every single year?
The thing with me is I don't want to take anything away from Milan. They did a great job of taking advantage of Inter not being, I feel like, clear-headed for most of the time. They, like Marco was saying, there's some questionable substitutions from Inzaghi. We know that 2-month rut that they were in that they couldn't get themselves out of. Inzaghi's first year with a brand new team, stuff like that. Radu's huge mistake that costed them 3 points against Bologna. I still think they have the best team on paper, and Milan only won by a few points. So I think if this season played again, Inter would you probably put your money on Inter to take it.
No way, we won and we deserve it.
No, I would say Milan definitely deserves it.
Too bad.
But Inter could have had. I feel like it was more of Inter slipping up more than anything, and I think Inzaghi's gonna figure out those problems for next season. So unless Milan really buys some quality players, it's gonna be hard to win it over Inter again. Personally, that's what I think.
I got news for you. We're gonna win again. We're gonna
That'd
win
be
again.
interesting.
We're gonna win again.
We got to see after the Mercato
We're
how.
gonna win again.
Speaking about the Mercato, Inter already they let Brozovic go. They weren't able to renew him. He went to Tottenham with Antonio Conte.
Perisic.
You said Brozovic.
You said Brozovic. I was like, wait,
sorry.
what? It's like, did I miss something?
Hey, you went from Corona to Heineken. That's what happened.
You had the beer, not me today. No, but sorry, Perisic left the Inter and he went to Tottenham. I don't think that it's that big of a deal like everyone's trying to make it out. They got Gosens. He's so one of, if not the best player that
if
was
it's healthy
as a wing back in Serie A. So they were prepared for this. I don't think that one's a big deal. The concern for me is the reports that they're going to need to sell at least one big player, whether that's Lautaro or whether that's Bastoni. It would be so bad, in my opinion, to lose Bastoni if he went to Tottenham or a different team like that. The guy is like one of the futures of the Italian national team. A player like that needs to stay in Serie A. And more so, Suning, it can't be that every year you lose these players. For a team like Inter that just won the league, that won the league, the year before, won 2 trophies this season, you need to build and be getting better to try to win in Europe. not losing a player every single year.
That was a personal decision, though.
For what?
With the Perisic thing you're talking about, no?
But I don't care. I said I don't care about Perisic leaving. I
No.
said that I care about the one big player that might have to go, like Bastoni or Lautaro. Perisic is fine. That's one side to it. I'm talking about the rest that they need to be buying players. They can't be selling one of their stars. So for me, that's where the question mark comes in, more so about the ownership rather than Inzaghi or the coaching or what went wrong this year. It's like, how are they supposed to build with this sort of ownership?
But is this ownership staying or they're going?
Gaetano, I'll tell you what, the writing is on the wall. AC Milan under Berlusconi, Berlusconi is starting to sell Ibrahimovic, if you remember. Then he's starting to sell the best defender on the world.
Silva.
Silva. Then they got rid of first Shevchenko and all the stuff, Kaká and all the stuff. That was the writing on the wall. When you're starting to sell, I think this ownership over here, it's about done. I think by maybe one more year, they're going to sell some of their best. This is where I see it, because it's the pattern that you see it. You're selling Lukaku, you're selling Hakimi, now what's his name, Perisic is gone. The writing is on the wall. They're going to sell some of their best assets, and then they're going to put the team on the market, because that's what's happening to some of the ownership that they are about to leave. So I don't want to be wrong. I see just the writing on the wall, because in the past I've seen AC Milan doing exactly the same thing, and I think this is the time for that Inter is gonna do it, not because of necessity, but because maybe there are other factors that we don't know exactly what's going on. It could be financial, it could be anything else. But I think I see the writing on the wall that Inter is not going to be able to maintain and to sign or renew the contract with some of those big guns and bring bigger guns inside.
Let's talk about Napoli. I know we had a basically end of the year podcast for everyone else besides Inter and Milan, because we knew the positions that they were going to end in, right? We did that the week before. So I don't want to dive deep on the rest of the teams. Let's just do high level.
Yeah.
Napoli finished in third place. I know some fans are pretty disappointed because they thought at one point that they could win the Scudetto. I think Spalletti is still the guy to go forward with. They had a very successful season because the goal was to get back into Champions League. They got back into Champions League, and yes, they weren't able to go all the way and win the Scudetto. But when you think about August, your expectations were very different. The only thing, again, for me, it's question marks about the club. It's question marks about the ownership. When you read the reports that they're offering Koulibaly and they're offering Fabian Ruiz half of their salary to be able to renew with them, you know, I get some question marks in my head on where is Napoli going? Like, can Napoli sign the players that get them to that next level if the goal is to try and push for Scudetto? You have to be realistic, you know, where Napoli are financially, but at the same time, they need to be careful of not losing too many of their key players. If they did lose Koulibaly and Fabian Ruiz, I think it would be a mess. A team that finishes in third place in Serie A can't have those sort of standards.
And we know Insigne is going to Toronto, so that's another player to replace. Get someone on the left wing over there. And yeah, we're not so sure about this Mercato. Who's gonna come? Who's gonna go? There's gonna be a lot of rumors. Yeah, that's true. The biggest one is Bernardeschi going to Napoli because Juventus aren't gonna renew him. So it's gonna be interesting Mercato for Napoli to see where De Laurentiis really wants what side Napoli's going to go for
Bernardeschi is
to
not
stay
for Napoli.
to stay in the top four, or actually strive to go for the Scudetto like Milan's been doing. So
well, I tell you what, I think De Laurentiis, to his credit, I mean, first of all, thank you ADL, because
Bari, right?
thank you for his leadership and his son.
You know he's going to leave soon, right?
I know, but I still has to be thanked. I said thank you for bringing Bari back into the Serie B. Number one. Number two, I think he's following the model that AC Milan has followed with Maldini, Massara, and Gazidis, my friend and next door neighbor over here. So it's not how much the value of the player is what they can do and the way they mix into the team and the kind of work that they're going to be able to do. Because many times the big names, they spell trouble. PSG is the first thing that comes to my mind. I mean, in PSG you have nothing but superstars on the roles, but year in and year out, they're always out.
They're not a team.
They're not a team. You have to play as a team. So you can have all the superstars on the wall. You need one or two leaders that everybody's going to be focused on, and they're going to be just following you from the beginning to the end. If you have too many leaders, and you have so many, in Italy say, quando hai troppi comandanti, la barca gira intorno. If you have too many comandanti, and everybody is saying something, then who's going to take the wheels? One guy you need at the wheel. One guy that the ball goes The boat goes straight. But if so many people pulling the wheel left and right, then the ball is going to go round and round and round. The ball has to go straight. The boat.
Which one?
Oh my God! I had a beer before, Mike. That's not your fault.
The ball or
The
the boat.
ball and the boat, they have to go straight down into the
What do you make
net
of that?
and into the port. What are you saying, Gaetano?
What do you make of?
No, I lost all the respect, with due respect, to ADL, whatever his name is. Once Ancelotti left that team, I mean, you had a coach like Ancelotti and you let him go. The guy, I mean, you cannot say enough about what this man. To me, he's a leader. If you would have listened to him, he would have got you to the right place, you know. So I don't know about this idea, what he wants to do. Now he's going to have a lot of competition because AC Milan just got this owner, Cardinale, who's got big plans. And Roma has got big projects. And I'm sure that Inter is going to follow with projects. And where's Napoli? What's your project? I mean, I don't see it. So I am very disappointed on the ownership.
Yeah.
You know what I think about what's happening? I'll tell you right now. ADL is going to sell. He's going to sell.
You just that's like his default mode is to
So
just
default.
scream that the guy is going to sell.
Press default.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about Juventus this season.
Oh.
They managed to get top four. Before the season, we had I think before the Mercato ended, when Ronaldo was there, our prediction bar Antonio was that Juventus was going to win. Us three plus Peter all said Juventus at that point. When the Mercato ended, we all switched and we said Inter would win. But our expectations were never that Juventus would be fighting. The success would be them getting into Champions League. That became the reality because at a certain point, I think November, January, or somewhere around that time, it was scary if they were even going to get into top four prior to Vlahovic arriving. They ended up getting there. It's their first season in 10, 11 years without getting a trophy. How do we judge this Juventus? Because they got Allegri back. They said, all right, now Pirlo and Sarri, we moved away from them that didn't have the experience of being able to win. Allegri will lead us to the promised land. And while everyone kept saying, give him time, give him time, give him time, I don't think you can make an argument that Juventus even improved slightly as the season went on. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree. But I also want to add something else. That the top management of Juventus, they're making too many mistakes. And I'm going to put the top Agnelli, which in the last few years, he went with Sarri, that was a mistake. He went with Pirlo, that was a mistake. He went to Allegri, to me, that's a mistake. He bought players that are not Juventus players. And so, you cannot, that's what happens in a season like this. If you don't get the right players, and then you paying $7-8 million to Ramsey, to Rabiot, to all these guys, and what the hell are you doing? And then Dybala, he never really got into. I mean, Dybala is a good player. He's a good player. Something is wrong there between the top management and the players. There's something that is not together. Because Dybala, to me, he could have been
the leader
there, but and he's going to go to another team, and I think he's going to do well. But the biggest disappointment to me is top management.
With that being said, though, going into next year, Agnelli's not going anywhere at this club. What do you do going into this next year? You obviously have to keep Allegri.
You have to keep
what's
Allegri.
The strategy? Can they get back to winning ways?
He's got 4 years. He's making a ton of money, so you cannot let him go. If he has another year like this year, I think he's going to go.
But do you think they can compete for the Scudetto?
Oh, yeah. No. That's one thing about Juventus. It's in the DNA that they need to win the Scudetto, the Coppa Italia, the Champions. They will build the team now. Yes, for the Scudetto, and all the names that I hear, I mean, they're good names. So I think for next year, they'll be at the top.
We'll get into the names, but Mike, how do you judge their season and where they can progress?
To be honest, it's a very sticky situation. I think personally for me, thinking for the Juventus fans on this case, first of all, I think there's been a few mistakes that's been going on. Like Gaetano hit on nail on the head with the management one. Next one is, I think it was a huge mistake signing Allegri on a four-year contract with a huge salary, because you're forced to almost not sack him, and you're playing this kind of prehistoric football that's not modernized, and you got players like you got great players like Vlahovic, stuff like that you're making him look average, and you're not giving his full capabilities, a prolific striker, as we've seen at a team at Fiorentina. He doesn't look like the same kind of striker that could be banging in these goals. Juventus are the kind of team that, they score on the 1, 2, 3 opportunities that they have, and if they don't, things can get tricky if they do concede. So they rely on that defense that they have. But will they be competing for the Scudetto? I guess you could say yes on paper, but I think this Mercato is going to be a huge telling to see how they're going to go about it, because they do have some players that they are selling, like Bernardeschi. Dybala's one that they're going to have to replace, but it's just time's going to come, and we're going to have to realize if this team's actually going to be competing. Because I think the way it's going, I think they're going to be competing for the first half of the season, and then the second half, I think they're going to be falling off and not going to be good enough to be fighting for the Scudetto like Inter and Milan and probably Napoli, I would say.
The weird thing is, like, yeah, I know you're saying Allegri, he's got a long contract, but either way, even if he didn't have a big contract, so now are you sacking 3 coaches 3 different years in a row, or 4 coaches all 4 years? That's a bigger problem than just giving him that big contract. And it's also, there's not a speaking between everyone, because we heard in the beginning of the year, they want to rejuvenate the squad. They want to build off of young players. Yeah. That was the idea. And now you're watching this Mercato, and it's the complete opposite. Allegri is asking them, I need born winners, guys who have won a trophy before, to be able to win. That's why they're going after players like Di Maria, like Pogba. They're going after those names because they're trying to win immediately. So my only thing is, like, it almost feels like they're going in 2 different directions on what the actual plan is. And I think they got to this point where they're way behind schedule on what they expected. I don't think they thought they would do as bad as they did last year. And they're sort of in a panic mode where they're like, next year we have to win. So let's just sign whatever we can to be able to get there. Now, when you think about, because the big question is, was it a successful year? And for me, it can't be.
No.
Like, it's not a failure because, yes, you got into Champions League. But for a team that's built like Juventus, you have to get into Champions League.
That's a failure of a
season. The year before, they only got in, by the hair of their chin. But either way, a team like that has to build. And Allegri was also presented with Ronaldo leaving right before the season started, and the Federico Chiesa, where I think now when we look at Italy and we look at Juventus, we realize how important Chiesa was into all of those teams. But going forward, they're in a weird situation just because I think next year, if they do bring Di Maria, if they bring Pogba, if they get a couple of these fullbacks that they're saying, they can compete. But long term, are you really building as solid of a foundation as some of the other teams? And also what you do in Champions League, I'm not sure.
I got to tell you something. First of all, it's not really Juventus' problem. It's all the big team problem, because those bigger franchise that you've seen around, like PSG, like the Bayern and all the stuff, a lot of teams in Europe and in Italy, they leveled them off. I mean, a team that was a mediocre team or was a middle of the range, now they can compete at any level with a big team. Now you got Roma, you got Lazio, you got Atalanta, you got a lot of Parma, you got a lot of Sassuolo. You have a lot of teams that they initially, 20 years ago, they will just lay down the red carpet for you, and then you go over there and you take the 3 points home, whether you play home or whether you play away. Right now, things have changed, and have changed for the better. And in a way that if you gotta come and play, you're gonna have to earn your 3 points. It was not a given. Before, Gaetano remembers many years ago. Gaetano, oh my God, Juventus is gonna play Venezia, or is gonna play Spezia. It's 3 points. They even put it on the stuff and they turned the page already before even the game started. Right now, it's not that shit anymore. So what I'm saying is that Juventus, for me, Allegri is not the solution, even though you gave us a 4-year contract. The fact that they rely into Allegri is because, I don't know, Pirlo and Sarri. Pirlo, as a first year, he didn't do that bad. I mean, it's the first time you just fall off the cliff and they said, hey, I got Pirlo available. It's cheap. It's a Juventus player. He's smart. Let's give it a shot. So he brought you by the tip of the, like you said, by the hair inside the Champions League. I would have given him an extra year.
He won 2 trophies as well.
It's okay. Yeah. Allegri, he didn't do crap. He didn't do anything. I'm as much as I like him, but he didn't do anything. But going to answer your question, Mark.
Can they compete?
Pogba and Di Maria and a couple other defenders, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it for you. AC Milan is getting stronger. Inter is going to try to level them up because they know that AC Milan is getting much stronger than what we are right now. Then you have Roma coming up big time. You have Napoli that they're going to try to fend off all the stuff. Everybody's competing for exactly the same thing that you're competing. Before, all you had to do just go on the market and buy 2 or 3 of the best players, and you were always on the top. It's over. It's over. Right now, you can go markets that are much wider, and they have players young and with a lot of talent that nobody knows about who they are. And those are the players that they make a huge difference. Theo Hernandez was unknown before he came to AC Milan. Salesmaker was unknown before he was AC Milan. Calabria was unknown before he came to AC Milan.
Salesmaker still unknown.
Brahim Diaz was unknown before he came. I'm going to give you Kalulu was unknown before he came to AC Milan. How many more you need? Okay, did I make the point for you? Thank you.
Yeah. But no, you didn't.
Sir. We are on the way with the winner. We won.
How can you not be competitive if you have Di Maria on one side, you have Chiesa on the other side, and you have Vlahovic in the middle, and you have somebody like Cuadrado, which could play left or right. The only thing, you got a good goalkeeper. The defense is going to be solid. The only thing you need is to buy. You got Locatelli. You need to buy 2 midfielders, and you cannot be competitive. And if Pogba is one of them, you're going to be very competitive. Now, if they're not, I will sack Allegri right away. Goodbye, Charlie.
Pagatano, those are much older than what they are. They were at their prime. They're not at their prime anymore. Di Maria is at the end of his career.
Chiesa, Vlahovic.
Yeah, but Di Maria and Pogba, they're not. Di Maria and Pogba, they're not.
Quadrado's 34.
They're not.
That's crazy.
Pogba's 29.
Yeah, so what? He hasn't done anything.
But Cuadrado was the best player.
No, Quadrado, but I'm surprised how old he is. I thought he was a little bit younger.
Who has done anything at Manchester United? Besides Ronaldo, nobody has done anything at Manchester. For me, it's such a, I know Ryan keeps saying the same thing. It is like the stupidest argument that he didn't do anything in Manchester United, because Manchester United has been like a team that's been on fire. Besides Ronaldo, I fail to think of any player who's done. It's been a bad environment. You mentioned Roma. Let's move on, because we got to wrap up. Roma season, they finished in 5th place. They won the Conference League.
Sixth
Sixth place. Sorry. Yeah. They won the Conference League. They finished in a Europa League spot. Great job by Mourinho and the rest of the team. Really, this team is one that can build, and I feel like if they would be able to invest in the market, they can do some really important stuff, because unlike the Juventus, from where I saw them start to where I saw them finish are 2 different teams, basically. The character, the will to grind out of a match, to all be on the same page and to be fighting for the same thing. I see that sort of unity, and I think that's how you judge a coach, from where they started in August to where we'll judge them now in May and June. So for them, I think the big keys, I think it's a very successful season for a first year. I think the keys for them is in defense. A few times they were lacking. Ibanez, Mancini, Smalling, I think is good. Ibanez, I think you need to do a little bit more. You need to get players who have been there, who have won. And if you can't get those, you need at least young players that will be there long term for you. If they can get a couple of players, I think this Roma next year will be fighting for the Champions League spot. They lost Mkhitaryan. I don't think it's as big of a loss for Roma. I think it kind of makes sense for all parties.
And Zaniolo too.
Inter. Zaniolo might be the one that funds the market at the end of the day. And I was there at the derby. Zaniolo didn't start the derby, and the team played great. So is Zaniolo the key, where if you get 50-60 million, would you not sell him? I don't think
that's a question mark.
I really don't think that it's that bad of a situation for Roma right now.
Listen, Roma needs a couple of midfielders. They're talking about Paredes, and they need
defenders.
The defender, I think you could get somebody in the center. I mean, Smalling is very good.
You know who could be good, actually? I just thought about Demiral is not going to get signed by Atalanta. Demiral could be a guy.
I think you could get somebody good in the middle. But the key position is at midfield. I think Cristante is a good player. If you can get Paredes, I think he could help there. And then you need, if you sell Zaniolo, because Abraham needs
Service.
Yeah, he needs to have somebody that, Pellegrini is good, so you need somebody to replace Zaniolo. 2 players you need.
What do you think about Isco? They're talking about Isco.
AC Milan wants him too.
Everyone does.
I think Isco is a good player. I think he's got quality. He's got skills. He can create. So Isco might be a good solution.
He's got the character that I think Mourinho wants.
And if he can get another player, Mourinho, he knows the Premier League very well. Maybe he can get somebody that we don't know, that plays for Everton or something. They're talking about Jesus, somebody that in the Premier that we don't know that could be a good players, even for the centre back. There are a lot of players.
Do you think Cristante is good enough to start for Roma?
Yes.
Or you're not biased by saying that? Because we know you have some ties with Cristante, right?
You don't have ties with Cristante.
What kind of a tie do you have with Cristante, by the way, that I don't know?
I'm a little bit biased.
There we
But
go.
you don't have a tie to Cristante.
No.
Not a tie.
I just met him a couple of times. He's the nicest guy
There
that
we
you
go.
want to meet.
And Michael's a nice guy too. What is it?
Nah, don't say that. It's not that nice.
When I be in football, I'm not.
No, but I like Cristante. I think Cristante is the balance between the midfield that gives you a balance.
He's
Marco's
been
not
brought,
believing
listen,
you over there.
Cristante's been brought up the right way. Was an AC Milan
Oh,
fan.
he's going to say something.
Let's say today. Today he's playing. I think he's going to start, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for Italy.
Okay, I want to see today
That's true.
how he
Okay.
does.
We'll keep an eye on him.
Also, the good thing is that they've even been able to develop guys like Zalewski has been so good
Yes.
for them. That's one more player that you don't have to go out and buy because
And you
you're
got
able to
Spinazzola.
develop. And you have Spinazzola.
That's coming back. Yeah.
Spinazzola, let's
He
see
needs
how
time.
I'm a little bit concerned on which Spinazzola will come back, but we'll see. It'll be good that he has an entire summer to recover.
Is it Roma? They got a good goalkeeper. The goalkeeper was fantastic in the last
final.
game. Yeah, the defense. You could get somebody. You could find somebody good. You just need to.
Demiral. I'm telling you, Demiral's the guy for them.
You guys get it. You need Demiral more than Roma.
He is on Juventus.
Yeah, so why you want to get rid of
No,
Demiral?
he doesn't work with De Ligt.
He doesn't? Well, how so? De Ligt? Who the hell is De Ligt?
Oh,
It's not Chiellini or Bonucci. Who the hell is De
Let's
Ligt?
talk about the other
Really?
team from
about
from the
Fiorentina?
same place. We're talking about Lazio now.
Oh, Lazio.
Lazio is renewing with Sarri. He's extending. He's staying at the club. There were question marks around if he did or if he didn't. How do we judge this Lazio season?
Oh, we forgot Milenkovic. Is he leaving Lazio?
Savic?
Yeah, Savic.
I think in the end he's going to be sold.
Because
It's still early.
that's a great player. That's a great player.
So what do you think about Lazio's?
That's a great player for Juventus.
70 million.
That's a great player.
He's not cheap.
Not for us. We don't need him.
He's not going to go to Roma. I don't think he's going to go to Roma.
No, he's not going to go.
But that guy, if you get him at midfield,
Game changer, right?
oh yeah, he's a game changer.
Let's talk about Lazio's
Lazio.
season. A really, really weird one for them. I like that they are sticking to a project. I think it's a good sign from them that at least they'll stay with a coach. They're not going to switch year after year to someone new. They're committing to Sarri. So now in the summer, what do you need to do? You need to get Sarri the players that he wants.
Yeah.
They're saying guys like Zielinski. We know that he has players that like Lucas Leiva who are not in his plans, who are probably going to be the ones that move out. I still think, kind of like Roma, they're lacking so much quality in the back. It was something that I saw clearly in August, and why I didn't believe in them to go to Champions League, because you need a really good defense when you want to actually compete for stuff, especially when you try to play the high line that he plays. I don't think their center, I don't think their entire defense is good enough at that level. It's a hard summer for them. The good thing that I think is a positive is that Sarri is better in these sort of situations where they're tight on funds. He's shown in the past with Empoli, with Napoli, maybe he could find players and build them up into the system. And they're committing to keeping him, so he has time to build. Will they compete next year for the Champions League? I think it will be tough unless everything works out and some of the young players that they invest in understand the system, but I'm not too sold on it.
The thing with Sarri is I feel like the past few years, I've always kind of sided with him because I liked his football and all this. But I think this season told me that I don't think I'm a fan of Sarri anymore. I don't know if it's because I'm always next to Antonio or something, but I feel like he's always bickering. There's always a problem with the players that 1 week he wants someone out. He's not playing this midfielder because of that. He doesn't have the correct players next to him. I don't think I think Napoli, that those seasons with Napoli made him better than he was. I don't think he's as good as maybe people put him out to be. And even though they finish higher than Roma, I think Roma are a better team than them and had a better overall season than them. And I think they're going to have a lot of trouble getting good quality players. And I do not think that they're going to fight for top four, especially when they sell some key midfielders. They're talking about Luis Alberto, Savic, and their defense is pretty bad. And they don't know who to play in goalkeeper. So I'm not a fan of Sarri and Lazio's project right now. It's kind of all over the place. Even though I was really excited in the beginning, I changed completely 180 with them.
Listen,
personally,
my opinion is we just named the three. The Lazio's midfield is Leiva, Alberto, and Savic. So when you lose those three, you have to totally rebuild. It's like you're rebuilding the entire team because the brain of the team is the midfield. So when you take the brain out, you have to just do brain surgery. You have to just take another brain from somebody else and just implant it into the team. It's not easy. Sometimes you need the brain. It takes it can get rejected by like an organ transplant. It takes. Listen, I'm taking this from the medical terminology. A new brain that not necessarily works as well as a brain that it was not doing as great as it was supposed to be doing.
The hell are you talking about?
Can we get a new brain?
Can
we get a new brain for you?
Oh my God! All right, let me switch back to Antonio.
The reference was fine for a second.
All right, let's switch back to what I'm capable to do, which is just
Mike,
talking.
would you give your
nonsense.
brain to Antonio?
Oh, it will never work. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that we over idealize this Sarri because of the first year the way he did it in Napoli, that it went up being a disaster because at the end of the day he didn't win crap with Napoli anyway.
he did incredible though.
Okay, so he went to Chelsea, won a little shit here, and then he went to Juventus, he won a little thing over there. Sarri is not a top coach. Okay, now let's get down to management. Okay, I trust that Tare is the guru of Lazio, not necessarily Lotito and company. Tare is the only one. Is the soccer connoisseur of Lazio. If they are, if they actually going to put on the market Savic, which is almost a done deal, that is not going to play in Lazio next year. I think Tare is got the quality and he's got intelligence to replace him with a top midfielder. Leiva is replaceable. Mm-hmm. Luis Alberto, I will keep him. Luis Alberto has got a lot of quality that people they don't see it. That guy to me next to Savic, he shares the leadership of the entire team. Luis Alberto and Tare, for me, they all Lazio. They put Lazio either to the top, and when they lose, they are the only two that they can take the blame for the loss. I think those are the two players that I will never substitute. But if I have to, I need two players of the same caliber or even higher in order to be able for that machine to still run at the same speed.
So what we'll do now is we're at an hour into this podcast.
We have to talk about Fiorentina.
We're gonna go to Italy as well. We're gonna watch the Italy match. Mm-hmm. So what we'll do is once the Italy matches are over, we'll do a recap on what we think about Italy, because obviously we had that finalissima match against Argentina that we're all trying to forget. And then we'll go through the rest of the squads. I know we didn't talk about Atalanta, Fiorentina, Sassuolo. Also, the new teams coming up like Monza, Berlusconi's Monza. Mm-hmm. We'll do an episode 2 where we'll break it up into 2 parts. This is the first part, and we'll do a second part where we talk about the rest of those matches as well as Italy and a little transfer market, because I know we touched upon it, but we didn't go into as deep. Yeah. There we go.
Okay, that's it.
All right, everybody.
Ciao, guys.
As always, thank you for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Subscribe, like, and we'll see you soon. Ciao, ragazzi.
Okay.